Welcome to the Bytes
You're getting good at this,
podcast.
mate.
I know, exactly. We're getting it very professional. And here we are with our amazing new equipment. Conrad,
I didn't know what the equipment looked like before, but
yeah, the
this
equipment
cool.
before was a lapel mic, pretty much, attached to my phone with some software running on the phone. So that was it, man. Now we're
legit.
It's a legit studio. So the Bytes has taken it up to another level. We had an interview. My first interview on Bytes was the last one we did with Laura Lee from the PR agency. Yep. But we used the old school lapel. But now we've taken it up to a new level.
I feel privileged, buddy.
You should. Okay, quick introduction. I am obviously Michael Duncan from Meta Creative, and I've been doing now the Bytes podcast for...
It's a cool name, though. I think you've done well with it. Played with it.
And the idea is, the idea behind it was just to do it. To just start doing something. Hence, just the lapel mic, and just like talking like a couple of topics about digital marketing, and just like chatting down the park, wherever. Just keep it really sort of fresh. But taking it to another level has been really good. Has been really, really good. And I want to go deeper and deeper into it. I mean, we've done podcasts before.
Yep.
The Simple Minds podcast, if anybody's listening, you can go check it out at Simple Minds Podcast. But yeah, I'd love to introduce a good friend of mine, actually, Conrad Francis.
G'day, buddy. Great to be here.
Yeah, good.
You do sound like Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. I could do that accent a little bit more. He's from Edinburgh. He's a famous Edinburgh.
I was listening to the podcast last night. I'm thinking, bloody, where's that voice coming from? And that's the only one I could pick up. So.
I was the host on that, wasn't I? Doing the Chardonnay.
No
drinks on this podcast, I'm sorry. No drinks on this podcast.
No, you did offer me water, but I was okay.
I did. So it is during the day, business. This is a business podcast.
And I'm going to go to the gym after this too, so
yeah, definitely. So, Conrad, give us a little bit of a background on who you are.
Sure. It's really interesting, right, because who I am is very different to what I do. Who I am, I'm a person, 2 arms, 2 legs, breathe air, bleed blood. Originally not from Australia, came from Burma back in 73, landed here, mum, dad, my sister. My brother was born here.
And you were only a year old, yeah?
I was a year and a month. Sorry, I lied to you. I wasn't even a year, I was 11 months. Came in January 73. And mum and dad worked real hard and to give us the opportunities that we got given. My brother and sister have their families and 2 children. Typical Australian family these days. I've never been married. I've got a 17-year-old daughter, soon to be 18, and run a few businesses. So, very different lifestyles, but same family. And I always think to myself and speak about how you can have 3 children in a family, but 2 very different mindsets. Yep. It's really interesting.
Good. And your main business, Inspired Money?
Yeah, Inspired Money. So it's a financial services business. It's been going for nearly 8 years now. I've been in the finance industry since 95, so a fair while. Seen a lot of changes, mate, and I guess loving the innovation that's moving through our industry at the moment, with fintech being one of the biggest, funded startup in sectors and startups at the moment. So it's really that to me is exciting.
So who do you see as the biggest disruptor just now in the finance industry?
I don't know whether there's a who at the moment. There's a lot of people bumbling around and mumbling around. I mean, so we're using some tech in our business, which I'm really, really happy with. I mean, I can give them a shout out, My Prosperity. They've got a wealth portal that pretty much empowers people to take control of their finances and allows people like us, from financial planners to accountants to property managers, to take to share in that journey and to add value that way. Making the client the hub, which is what I've always believed should be the case. We should always inspire to aspire the individual.
Yeah, and especially with the big players, there's been a lot of bad press recently about some of the bigger players in the finance industry, some of the banks.
Greed's a funny thing, mate. And I think it happens at every level, right? At personal level and definitely at corporate level. And what we've seen within the banking sector at the moment, I don't know whether you want to mention brands, but there's been the Royal Commission that we've just had recently going through here, and rightly so, exposing some of the, I'll say, crap behaviour, but it's also more about the ignorance, the unknown stuff, which is to me not good enough when you're in a position of leadership within the community. So you may not have done something intentionally, and a lot of these institutions haven't done it intentionally, but through neglect, it's caused massive impact, and I don't think that's good enough.
Yeah. So I mean, businesses like Inspired Money, which are obviously more of a boutique size, can obviously cater and help the average Australian a lot better than.
That's my desire. My desire is to help mum and dads, and like I said, I told you where I came from, and that's my market. Mum and dads that want to take control and become better for themselves and for their families.
So what's your focus then with Inspired Money moving forward? What's the next thing, or what's been happening over the last couple of years, and what's coming up?
Well, I mean, it's broadening what we do. So we're traditionally a financial planning firm. We've added mortgages, so we're adding other financial services offerings. I believe that there's going to be a better play for businesses to become more diversified in what they offer their clients. So we are looking at other streams of diversification that technically isn't finance related, but more people related. So add more value into a person's life, not just through finance, but finance being the key. So we're talking and we're in discussions with businesses and people around that at the moment. Our vision is to be the most affordable and accessible financial services business in Australia. Now, big goal for a small business operating out of Perth, but you've got to aspire to that type of stuff. And I think if your fishing pond's that big, then you don't need to have a lot of that to be successful.
Yeah, and the introduction of obviously technology within the finance space over the last decade. Yeah, I'd say
a decade. I mean, anything compounding is interesting. Like you could even go through the last 3 years, but definitely this has been bubbling for at least 10 or so years. There's been a lot of ignorance over that time frame. So whilst it's been bubbling, no one's really been taking any notice. But a lot of this stuff's now coming to the fore now. So how are you using technology to reach your clients, to engage with your clients? And client engagement, if it has never been the number one goal of a business, should be the number one goal of a business.
And is it hard for the bigger players in town? Is it hard for them to compete and be nimble enough with the technology changes to make wholesale changes to the way they...
Well, that's what we're seeing, and that's what puts us in a fairly good driver's seat. I mean, not even just institutional level. There's other bigger businesses than us in this place, double, triple the size of our business, and they can't move fast enough. Because it's just the nature of the beast. The bigger you are, the harder it is to evolve because of the structure that you've evolved under. Now, businesses like Facebook and Google and Apple obviously innovate and iterate and change direction faster now because of their structure and how they're set up. But a lot of businesses aren't set up that way. And it's a lot to do around the trust and the vision.
Yeah, I mean, these big companies, I mean, you said with the big four, isn't it really? Google, Amazon, Facebook, and...
Uber, I would tell you, and Airbnb. You got Uber, Airbnb.
But the sort of the tech giants, I suppose it is just the three. It's the three: the Facebook, Google, and Amazon.
But people are throwing Spotify in there at the moment because of their reach in the media in the music space. I mean, Uber's what it's done to travel, and Airbnb. I mean, they're the ones that are sitting on the fringes. Pinterest is floating around there. YouTube's obviously there, but YouTube's owned by who was YouTube owned by these days? Was it Google?
Yes. Sorry. It is.
I mean, they have all come from extravagant visions. And obviously, to iterate and to change and to move and shift, you have to empower a lot of different people to do that, as opposed to being very, line manager driven and very, very divisionally driven, which is the way that a lot of companies still are. And still a lot of small businesses are. So that's what's happening. Those businesses that haven't paid much attention to vision, and clearly haven't valued client engagement as it's evolved. They're getting stuck at the moment.
And what can some of the big players in the finance industry then? I mean, we're talking like the Commonwealth Bank, these sort of guys. What's their future?
Yeah, well, their future, I believe, is going to be interesting. Banking going forward is going to be interesting. It's time. Everything evolves. I'm not going to say the CBA or any of the majors won't be around. I don't think they're that susceptible to that kind of change.
But there needs to be a movement.
They do need to iterate their lines of business, and I think that's already on the cards. I mean, obviously, blockchain at the moment, we hear blockchain in reference to cryptocurrencies. But blockchain is a transaction ledger, digital transaction ledger, which tracks money. So that will play a bigger part in cash and cash flow. And should also allow the machinations of lending and borrowing and deposits happen a lot easier. So how that evolves, I mean, I'm led to believe the banking sector within Australia will probably get a big input and say as to how blockchain rolls out within this country. But it will change. It will change the way that we've borrowed money, that we've lent money and invested money. And I think that's the big thing on the horizon for banks at the moment. But you can't lose sight of how you engage with your clients.
Yeah, and I mean, from a business point of view on my side as well, I mean, it's always the clients. That's the number one focus.
And it has to be. I mean, I went to a a business function the other day where a panel of speakers are speaking over the day, and they opened up with a lawyer. And usually when you go to these events and a lawyer speaks, you generally fall asleep.
Yeah.
But when you go to these events and the lawyer is actually the most interesting person to speak to, because they say to you, if you focus on your client, you'll never get it wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
The world is going through a change.
Yep.
And that's the case in point. If a lawyer's telling you about client engagement, you need to listen.
Yep. How do you treat your clients then? What are some of the things you do for your clients that you think has helped your business and keeps you guys going the way you are?
Price is an interesting point, right? I mean, but I would say we're fairly affordable for what we deliver, and I'm always about delivering massive value to people.
Yep.
And the more value you deliver, the easier it becomes for people to value you. So price is an easy place to play the game in, but to me, it's how someone feels after they deal with you.
Yeah,
and I'm always interested as to how a client feels after they've dealt with us, and not necessarily the instant phase where geez, you've taken that off my hands, I feel great now. Well, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the track, 10 years down the track.
Yep.
How are you feeling now?
Yep.
Are we ticking your boxes? Have we allowed you to do what you've wanted to do?
Yep.
So that to me is a great conversation. Now I don't see a lot of clients anymore, Mike. So
yep.
when I do get to see them, and obviously some of the clients are my friends when I see them, that's the questions I want to know. How's the experience for you? What can we do better? And what don't you need to see?
Yeah, I think a lot of businesses, and I was probably in this basket as well a few years ago, of not. I mean, I've always cared a lot for clients, but not got the feedback from the clients, which I think is you need that loop to constantly imprve.
Yeah, you do. It's what allows you to sharpen. And we tend to shy away from it. I think it's a psychological thing, right? I think we logistically know we should be asking the question, but we don't really want to hear the answer.
Yep.
Because we're not prepared to do the work that might come about. And most of us don't actually receive compliments well either. And so that's the other side of it, right? So we don't want to hear the bad shit. And we aren't ready to receive the compliments, so we just don't act. We don't act, and we don't ask.
Yep, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So I'm only speaking from personal experience. That's how it's been for me, and so when it's that like for me, I go on the internet and say, well, fine, is this real?
Yep.
And sure enough, that is real. It's the polarizing piece.
Oh, definitely. I've got a question for you, which is sort of to do with small business. If you were starting up a small business and you had $10,000 in the bank, what would you spend that $10,000 on?
I'm very clear with what I would spend that money on. It's engaging with the people you want to sell to.
Okay. Yeah. And would you have an idea of which way you would go about that from a personal perspective?
Well, I guess we've built our business a lot on business referrals.
Yep.
That's been our prime focus. So I'd identify the businesses that I want to align to, and I'd spend some time and money in making the connections work, whether it be lunches or adding some level of value to them that will allow them to consider me to work with me.
Yeah, because I mean, I know a lot of the stories from your networking prowess, because I mean, that is, you kind of pride yourself on getting to know the right people.
It's crazy because I've never been a person that has spent money on networking groups and doing. I was going to say,
I don't mean networking as in your.
It's never structured with me.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the relationship building.
Yeah, relationship building is more the case. I mean, and it's about, and I've gotten very clear on this. It's about what can I do for you.
Yep.
What can I do? What can I give you that's going to allow us to build that trust bridge real quick?
Yep.
For us to exchange value real quick.
Yep.
And then you just got to deliver. And I use the word bridge because everything you do puts another plank in the bridge for yourselves to walk over.
Yep.
And there's always going to be a little leap of faith when you start a new relationship.
Yep.
But the smaller you can make that leap, the easier it is for them to take.
Yep. And I think the key word that you said just then is deliver. Like you can promise the world, and I think obviously it's such a busy place just now. There's businesses starting up everywhere.
Yep.
People saying they're going to do this. There's the Instagram famous guys. Just sort of, it's easy to look the part these days, but the actual delivery of that value is the key.
Yeah, I'm dealing with some stuff at the moment with a client where it's interesting what she's paid for what I know she will receive, and experience gives you that level of understanding. But yeah, you're right. It's that, what are you buying when you see it online?
Yep.
What's the depth behind it? What is behind it?
Yep.
But with me, I think not being afraid of actually not getting it right either.
Yep.
Okay. And then taking the advice on to move it forward.
Yep.
I mean, they're the most humbling lessons. But I haven't got it right with clients all the time. 100% of the time is impossible to attain.
Of course, yeah.
But when you ask for feedback, then you know how they feel.
Yep.
and when how they feel is something you can affect through changes in your systems and your processes, then great, take it on board and make those changes. If it's not something like that, then you've got to understand, well, fine, is the client's never wrong, okay, but then can you deliver that feeling to them? And if they can't, then you've obviously got to shake hands and part ways, respectfully.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Don't just try and hang on to the fee for the sake of balance sheet and knowing that you're not delivering what they need.
Yep. Why do you connect so well with Batman? Why is Batman such a big part of your life, Conrad Francis? Or should I say Bruce Wayne?
It's actually been an interesting one, right? I think the Batman story, Bruce Wayne story is an interesting one. I mean, not that I come from a family that... I had a mum and dad, but Bruce Wayne's journey was very, very in his own mind. So even though I had a great family and still have a great family, a lot of my time is on my own and in my own headspace. So I do align with the way the Bruce Wayne story evolved. The other part of that is Bruce's story about how he dealt with fear. He fell down a hole, dealt with some bats, and that's what stuck with him, essentially, the fear of being around bats in a black cave.
Yeah, okay.
So as it's evolved, I guess it's a case of me dealing with what makes me scared. And fear's not real, Mike. We know this, right? But it is real in a way that it exists, but it's not real by what it is. And it's a constant battle of fear because we're always moving into realms of uncharted territory. We're always growing into areas that we've never really, got 100% control or influence over. And so it's that unknown stuff that really does just keep checking in and pegging you back and testing you whether you really want it enough. And I think that's more the case, mate. I mean, I can tell you the bullshit story about being the single bachelor and being a wealthy bloke and like that part of Bruce Wayne's lifestyle.
And loving wearing tights, obviously, as well.
Well, I have done that, mate. I have done that in public on a few occasions.
Yep.
And that's the nice side of it. And you know what? I guess, that feeds the ego a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah,
but that's not the truth. The truth is that it's the fear face and how Bruce, as a young boy, dealt with that fear.
So what fear do you remember then? As a catalyst, was there a catalyst, a moment, that your bat moment at any stage in your life?
Oh, I guess you can take it back. I mean, the earliest part I can take it back to was when we used to walk to school. I was in year one, going to Lockridge Lockridge Primary, and we walked to school. And I used to get teased to the point where you get to this corner house and you just bolted, you just
really?
ran.
Okay,
I won't say what we got called because it was fairly disgusting, but. You had to believe in yourself to a point that, at one stage, if you didn't stand up for yourself and weren't, you didn't feel like you had to run, you could walk past that place. That to me felt great. So I was scared for a large part of my life until I believed, okay, well, I'm going to walk this line and I will walk it. And sure enough, it dissipated. They'd never ever chased me, but they just yelled and screamed from the yard. But it's whatever story you want to tell yourself, though, right?
And you can let the fear grow, can't you? This is the issue.
You can, exactly right. And for a large part of my life growing up, like I just said to you, I'm obviously, those that can't see me, I've got dark skin. So, growing up in a country where, racial issues were real and probably still are to a certain level around the place.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so perception became my reality. I couldn't explain to people where I came from easily enough because I didn't know where I came from.
Yeah. You're on 11 months.
And so there's a lot of uncertainty and an unknown in myself. And, I had to get to know me. And I know about the decisions I made right through my primary school life that allowed me to fit in as opposed to stand out. And I'm all about encouraging people to stand the fuck out right now, pardon my French, mate, but stand out as much as you can.
Yep.
Because that's who you are, and your unique ability to add value to everyone around you and to the planet is what's important.
I think we could probably finish there. That was a really nice way to finish, Conrad.
No worries, Mike.
Thank you for joining the podcast today with the first test run of our amazing,
that's great, mate.
Amazing new equipment. It sounds pretty good.
No, it's always great. It's always great to be a part of things like this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, Conrad, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.